This is the Paranormal Report. Indeed it is. I am Jim.
I am Dar. What's new? Hey.
Well, we're empty nesters now.
We are empty nesters.
New way of life. Yes.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird. For cooking, we're going back to cooking for two people. And where do we sit at the table? Because we all used to sit a certain way, and now it looks silly the way we were sitting. It's just
So now
rough.
we're at the ends of the table. It's like those movie scenes where the man and
Jeeves,
woman,
please
estate,
bring me the jam.
Yes. But there is no Jeeves. That's the problem.
Me the jam? No, we have to get up.
Yeah.
I don't want Jeeves.
Yeah. But the thing is that, it's an adjustment. I'm trying to remember what we did before kids. And the truth is, it's been so long, I don't remember.
We don't. I know. We worked full time. So like everyone else, very busy. I think at night we were just
now, but we work from home.
No,
which
but
is
it
a
was,
little different.
it was different. And, we were just exhausted at night. I think we'd watch some of our normal television shows we liked. And then we went to bed. Saturday was chores all day.
Yeah.
Going to the laundromat. And
so a new chapter indeed. A new chapter indeed. Indeed.
Yes, so we can commiserate with those of you out there. I know some of you are extremely happy to be empty nesters. I don't think we are as much. I miss that family dynamic we've had, and we laugh and we have a good time, and we like to play games and go places and do things. So that won't stop. We'll continue to do that.
And we'll adjust. Life is an adjustment, and this will be another adjustment. And in the world of the supernatural, the paranormal, we talk about it all, UFOs, ghosts, and it goes on. We'll cover both of those topics today.
Absolutely.
But in UFOs, more news. It seems like every week there's something. You've got a big story you're going to talk about. And imagine this. Imagine if, let's say in the 80s, a congressperson would have gone on Johnny Carson and said, I at one point was stationed at a military base and there was a possible UFO incursion, and said, I believe there very well might be interdimensional beings based on what I've been told. Wouldn't that have been big news back in the 80s or the 90s if somebody went Johnny Carson?
Huge
well, basically, that's what's happened now because, the late night talk shows are going down. But you know what's up? The number one podcast in the country, the Joe Rogan Experience. I know some people love him, some people not so much. But he is the biggest podcast in the world, in the country. And Representative Anna Paulina Luna went on Joe Rogan's show last week, and this is the reporting from News Nation now, though I've watched the clips and so forth, that she says she's very confident that interdimensional beings exist. Yeah. She has viewed evidence of interdimensional beings on Earth. She leads the task force for the declassification of federal secrets created by the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform. And not only has she had these briefings, she had kind of a personal experience. There was another article here from People magazine where she shared a story or reporting on what she said on Rogan, that there was an airspace incursion while she was serving in the Oregon Air National Guard. She believes it was a UAP. She said that she tried to talk to the pilots and different people about it. And she said, quote, they're like, we really can't talk about it. And no one really wanted to address it, she said. She added the one pilot said they couldn't, quote, really identify, unquote, whatever they saw in the sky. So I think maybe that's what's led to her spearheading all this. I know she's very young. She's 36 years old. Again, similar to Rogan, some people love her, some people not so much because of her politics. But on this, I can say, I give her credit. I give her credit for going out there and putting it on the line and saying, look, and here's a quote, there's definitely something that I can tell you with confidence that we don't know how to explain. She added, that she believes there are interdimensional beings that, quote, can operate through the time spaces, that's her wording, that we currently have. And she said, quote, without getting into classified conversations, there have been incidences, her wording again, where I believe very credible people have reported that there have been movements outside of time and space. Based on the photos I've seen, I'm very confident that there's things out there that have not been created by mankind. And she talked a little bit about what we talk about, how the kookification happens when you talk about these things. You know, the people that don't want this stuff disclosed, they kookify people. She said, quote, when you have thousands upon thousands of people throughout time that have reported something, to say that those people are crazy, to say that the whole concept of just asking the question may mean, they added that to it to make it make sense, that you are not psychologically sound, that in itself is a disinformation campaign to get people to shut up about it. And she goes on to say what we say. We know the U.S. government has not exactly been clean in a lot of what they've done with the American people, specifically to the topic of UFOs. So, I mean, I know some people may consider her, I've heard comments, she's a lightweight or whatever, but I give her credit for this, for putting it on a line, saying it how she sees it, and let the chips fall where they may. I mean, that takes a lot of guts.
Well, I was happy to hear, because the whole time you were talking about the article, I kept saying, well, why does she believe in these interdimensional beings now? But then she addressed it. She has seen evidence, which they'll say,
and there's only so much she can say. There's only so much she can say. I mean, I think she's kind of going out on a limb even saying what she said.
She is. Well, I'm happy to hear that she is acknowledging that there are others out there who would just deem you as crazy for even thinking the question. And that's the thing. It's like, why is it so crazy? These people who don't believe, that's fine. You have the right to not believe. I have the right to believe. We all have our own opinions, and that's okay. Did you ever just open up your mind a little bit and ask why? I mean, so what are you're deemed crazy or a kook because you ask why? Or really, maybe? Even if you just skeptically think about, I mean, you know what I mean? So I'm happy to hear she's kind of addressing that, what we talk about all the time, because it's hey, it's true. It's absolutely true. And it's not just, the powers that be are putting that out there, right, for disinformation, saying, oh, you're a weirdo. You believe in that? Oh, don't share that with anyone. Oh, you're, shh, and that then spurs up the popular opinion in the world, which is, oh, yeah, you're right. You're a weirdo. Shh. They don't even think.
I think there's another aspect to it, too. When you look at people maybe like a Neil deGrasse Tyson or the hardcore debunkers, I think they are so wedded to their worldview that they're not necessarily, quote, part of the conspiracy, but they kind of serve as, and this is not a nice thing to say, but there's a saying in espionage.
Oh, no, Jim's not nice.
Useful idiots. In other words,
I know what you're saying.
I'm not saying Neil deGrasse Tyson is a million times smarter than I am. I know that. But my point is that these people who are so dyed in the wool that there's nothing to that and there can't be, they are essentially unwitting, useful idiots to the disinformation campaigns, is my belief.
Correct.
So there's people who legitimately believe that there's nothing to this, and it's not because of any kind of conspiracy. It's just because they're basically in the science religion, because I think many times science can be a religion or like a religion. And it's well, since we've never believed that can't necessarily be. And you can look back.
They have their dogma.
And it's happened in science. Michelson and Morley, who disproved the existence of ether or whatever it is, has been so many times science has been so sure about something. And they've said, oh, you kooks. Of course there's the ether.
The data.
Right.
Well, you didn't get all the data.
Right. Yeah. We never get all the data.
No, you don't. No one's going to get all the data. Come on.
And speaking of data, there's some interesting data coming in.
Oh, my goodness.
On the topic of a particular I don't know if you call it a UFO, but it's kind of scary. Tell us
It's an
about it.
interstellar object, right? So we've been talking about this for weeks. Avi Loeb has come out, and NASA has come out about this Manhattan-sized interstellar object. Well, some more information has come out now that it's emitting its own light. So it's this that three eye atlas.
Right.
It's zooming through our solar system. They said, by the end of October, we should have more information about it because it's going to be much, much closer. But, Avi is saying it's emitting its own light. And he said his observations, if it's verified, would contradict NASA's classification of this giant object as a comet. Because they said it's a comet. He says there's no tail. So how could it be a comet? Okay. So kind of interesting. And, he's also, him and a colleague, they looked at the photos that were released by NASA, and, they determined that the source of the glow is not from the sun. So NASA is saying like it's being reflected off of this object, right? And Avi and another, astrophysicist is saying, no. And, he's saying that this object is the one that is producing most of the light. Okay. So also, if he is correct in his assumptions and his observations, this thing is much smaller than NASA has indicated. So it's smaller than 100 meters and much smaller than they initially thought it was. Okay. And if it was emitting light, it was like maybe 12 miles long, which is improbable, they said. Here's where this gets a little interesting. Loeb is speculating that the nucleus of the object, what's causing all the light, could be nuclear, and that it could be an engine that's crafted by alien people.
Wow.
Yeah, this is huge. And I mean, and he's talking about like, it's got this fine-tuned trajectory, right? So, this trajectory of supposedly is gonna see the object blocked from Earth's view by the sun, just as it will get closest to our pale blue dot, and it's also going to make passes past Mars and Jupiter. So he's calling for NASA to get their Mars reconnaissance orbiter and use that high-rise camera that's on it to make observations of this object as it passes in the first week of October. And then he also wants NASA to direct its Juno craft that's currently orbiting Jupiter to also make observations of this when it passes nearby next spring. So he's like, if we could get better photos and we can analyze this a lot better if NASA will go ahead and do this. The article goes on to say, and this was from New York Post, but this article is like everywhere right now. So this is kind of mainstream. You can find this information. I just liked this last paragraph in the Post because they said, Loeb pointed out to the Post that earlier this year, NASA claimed to discover a new asteroid, which turned out to merely be the Tesla Roadster that Elon Musk launched into space. So kind of saying, yeah, don't discount me. They're not so hot to trot either. They don't always know what they're doing either. It's science. You can't always know what you're doing. You have theories and hypotheses, and then you do a study and you do an experiment. Hello. Okay.
No, it's true. It's true. Well, the thing is that, I mean, if anybody is following UFO X, UFO Twitter, there is a lot of talk about the end of the world. There's a lot of talk. I mean, I think it was Jeremy Corbell came out in, I think it was January, and said something to the effect, you will be told a lie that there's a craft headed towards Earth. He called it a lie. There's a lot of talk about 2027 being some kind of end date or some kind of, I mean, this is to say, I'm not saying any one of these things is true, but there's a lot of buzz. Now, is the
a lot
buzz
more chatter?
Chatter. Is it disinformation? Is it made to obfuscate? I mean, to me, and I think a researcher we've had on before, Kelly Chase, who's very good, and I think she speculates, a lot of chatter. The idea amongst someone is to put so much conflicting information out there that it just makes the whole thing a ball of confusion.
Right.
And people discount it, which could
paralysis
be
by analysis.
Yeah.
So the more,
it's just like we say it all the time. I mean, when we grew up, there were like 5 channels. 3.
I had 3.
We had
didn't have
CBS,
an
NBC, ABC, and a couple public broadcasting, and it seemed like there was always something on to watch. Now we've got a million channels, 72 streaming services, and there's nothing because it is like information overlord. Overlord. It could be overload, and our brains were never made to absorb as much information as we absorb. So it's kind of like flooding the zone, to use a sports term. You flood the zone with so much information, and some of it makes sense and some of it doesn't, and this one's against that one, and then it becomes, I give up, there's nothing to this stuff.
Well, I can't understand all this stuff. Yeah. I don't have time for all of this.
We even see it like with something like our Plus Club. We have a couple different versions, and people, if you throw too much at people, they get confused and they just walk away.
I do. Well, one more thing I just want to say about this story too is that Avi saying that trajectory, he really feels it because it's like not the way it's going. He really feels it's almost like a reconnaissance mission from aliens, that they're coming close to Jupiter and Mars, and they're trying to get information. He feels it's something more out there. If you want to use the word alien, you can, but like the common person is like, I don't have time for this. This is just too kooky out, forget it.
Right. Well, I respect.
Give me a Birkin bag. Okay. Sorry.
67.
Not to offend
67.
those of you.
That's the answer. I just learned about that. 67. Look it up.
Okay. I'll have to look it up. I don't know that.
Well, think about.
There's something we could talk about at dinner.
Think about in the olden days, 42.
Yeah.
The answer is 42. Kind of along those lines. Look it up. 67.
Okay.
By the way, folks, I hope I got that right and it's not something horribly vulgar. But.
No. It's actually 72, Jim. No, I'm just joking.
Okay. Oh, no. There we go. All right. Well, more.
Speaking of aliens.
Headlines from our representatives. We've talked about Representative Burleson before, and he's from Missouri, and he is part of the House Oversight Committee and UAP group. And he was on the podcast recently, The Endless Void with Kristen Fisher. I'm not familiar with that one. But they talk in this article, this is, now interestingly enough, this is in Mashable, India. I tried to find the article in American Mashable, couldn't find it. I even went and searched Burleson's name on the Mashable.com site, did not come up. So apparently this story is good enough for Mashable India, but not good for Mashable in the U.S. Interesting. But anyway, not that there's any conspiracy, but they talk about physicist Dr. Eric Davis. And if you follow this carefully, his name will be familiar. And in a May briefing about UAPs, he talked about different types of possible aliens. Now, he's worked on secret Pentagon projects. He mentioned Greys. Of course, we know what that looks. Nordics, which goes back to the George Adamski visitors where they had blonde hair, blue eyes, and long hair. See, that's why I'm not an alien. I have short hair. Insectoids, that sounds like fun, and reptilians as possible beings that might be piloting unidentified flying objects. Now, you might think this is one person going off half-cocked, saying this. But again, Representative Burleson, who was interviewed on this podcast, said that he had heard these same 4 types mentioned in closed-door meetings. He said, I've heard those 4 classifications discussed in meetings in this office by others. But what I wasn't expecting was for him to say it. I wasn't expecting Eric Davis, respected scientist, to say that. Now, Burleson says he's a doubter, which kind of plays to what we talked about when I saw him on some of the hearings they had. He struck me as kind of antagonistic. But he said, if true, this would be a paradigm-shifting moment. And I really respect what he said this is here. But if it is true, the government has no right to keep such a secret from the public it serves. So essentially, he says, and I love this, I owe it to the American people to get to the bottom of this. He said people could deal with it. He said most would just read the headline and move on. He says, though, the government belongs to the people, not the other way around. Keeping such monumental secrets would betray the trust of the people. So if he's sincere, hey, that's the kind of skeptic I like. We want
that's
the
what
truth.
I'm saying.
And maybe the truth is there's nothing to it.
Well, that's what I respect about him. It's okay. It's not that I don't like skeptics. It's not that I don't like people who can't open up their minds just a little bit and ask questions. That's how you learn. That's how you grow. That's how you have new experiences, by not being so dogmatic. So I can't change. This is my belief. Question things. That's all I'm asking. Question things. Learn. Grow, form your own opinions and ideas. Don't be spoon-fed by other people. I appreciate that he was able to say that, even though he's a doubter, but he's keeping an open mind. He's listening to what's being presented to him. And like you said, Jim, if it's nothing, then it's nothing. And I respect that too, right? But just let's get to the bottom of it, right? Let's try the best we can. And if there's secrets, let's reveal some of this stuff. As long as it's not going to harm us. And like I always say, even if it, there's a potential for danger or, just let us know that. Say, you know what, for safety reasons, we are unable to divulge most of this information. We do want to, go ahead and tell you that, yes, some of this is true, but we can't be specific. There. Is that so hard? Yeah, I don't know why that's so difficult. Sense. I really don't know why. Transparency, please.
I agree. Now, we do tend to always think about UFOs as a American thing. It's the U.S. only. That's why I love when I hear stories about weird things spotted in the skies in other parts of the world. And you have something very weird.
Oh my gosh, this is so weird. This was from Unexplained Mysteries, unexplained-mysteries.com. I do that every week. Sorry, guys. But there was this unidentified object over the skies of France. Somebody filmed it. They don't even know who filmed it. Some woman filmed it, and it was dubbed a witch. And I am telling you, I will put the link in the show notes. You must see this video. It truly looks like a witch up in the sky.
Yeah, it does.
You saw it, right, Jim? I mean,
I'm looking at it right now. A cloaked figure. It looks like
yes.
Yeah.
It looks roughly humanoid in shape, rising very slowly behind an apartment. It looks like it's got little legs, in my opinion.
It reminds me of the old pictures of you used to see, like back in the day, they would have a football game and there'd be a guy with a jetpack.
Yes.
That's what it looks like, but wearing, looking like Snape.
Yeah. Absolutely, with the ropes. I mean,
exactly.
That's what it kind of looks like. Now people are saying, "Oh, it's probably just a drone, or it's probably just an air balloon, or maybe it is." I don't know. I just found it. Not to me. I don't know. I found it very interesting. I'm like, ooh, I kind of like.
And it's so annoying. We would love to show you the picture. YouTube.
I know.
And they're so crazy with this. Strikes and stuff. I just saw a great music creator talk about Rick Beato, who's fantastic guitar player and instructor and stuff. And he said then one day he got 13, within an hour, 13 different because he would just play little clips of songs. He would be actually interviewing the person who wrote the song or sung the song or played on the song. He'd play a little clip and he's getting all these. So a lot of times we can't show stuff because we don't want to lose our channel. So we always put the link so you can do that. But yeah, it looks like Sirius Snape or whatever. What was his name? Severus. Severus Snape in a jetpack.
You fake Harry Potter fan. No, you never were a big Harry Potter fan anyway.
It's too involved.
It is not. My gosh. And the books. Oh my gosh, the books. So those of you who've just seen the movies, don't just see the movie. The movies don't do it justice. Really, really read the books. You must read the books.
It's amazing to me that somebody can create a world like that.
It is amazing.
That out of your mind you can create that. I mean, that's amazing.
See, that's why everybody keep using your minds. Be creative. Don't let AI take over. Keep writing. Keep producing. keep creating music and art. And I'm just so worried about all those things. As an aside, read an article today. This idiot comes out and says, well, don't bother going to school or getting a PhD or becoming a doctor or a lawyer because AI is going to take over all of that. Yeah, AI is going to stop the bleeding of some guy who's been in a trauma event. It's not. So don't listen to these people. Sorry. I had to, I had a rant.
Everything is oversold, right? I mean, if you look at the 1950s and they talked about nuclear power, atomic power, they said, you're going to be able to power your homes for pennies a day.
Yep.
I mean, everything is oversold at the beginning. So
of
maybe
course.
we're in the middle of a little bit of marketing hype. Not that AI won't change things and that it won't be
It has
useful,
already, but yes.
That it won't be useful and that it may be dangerous. But I think just assume everything you hear is overblown, both positive and negative. I think that's a fairly safe safe
and
assumption.
Especially about AI. I mean, they said there's been lawyers who've used it for their briefs and whatnot, and they got into court and all the information was completely incorrect.
And they got into court and they weren't wearing any briefs, and it was very embarrassing.
Oh gosh, groan. I need a groan button. Can I get a button that goes, Yeah.
I'll work on that.
Please. But I need access to it. But
yeah,
anyway.
Well, we can do that. So someone who's not worried about AI, actually, he's very much into AI, is a gentleman who's basically, it looks like he has purchased a military base, a Cold War RAF base, and he's firing up the Legacy radar station to hunt for UFOs. This is the Daily Mail. The guy's name, I hope I get the pronunciation right, is William Sakiti. And they say that he's far from your run-of-the-mill businessman. So he said, there's no point in being the richest man in the graveyard. I just want to have fun and let people track UFOs. So he's 41 years old. He lives on the base by himself. And it's actually kind of sad. It's RAF Neatished, I believe is the pronunciation. And it was a key part of UK's air defense network, keeping an eye out for a potential nuclear attack until the end of the Cold War. He's purchased it. And it's kind of sad if you read the story, actually. He lives there by himself. He has a wife and kids. But there's been people shooting animals, shooting deer on there and vandalizing the place. So he's afraid for his family to be there. But he's decided he's going to live there and do his work. He has a robotics company. So he does his work there. But what he's done is he's fired up this Type 84 radar. And he's created software that people, I guess, can access it all over the world and use the radar to hunt for UFOs. Remotely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Remotely. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. He says, I have all the documents of how the Type 84 was made and how all the tech works. So what if I fed it into this super intelligent AI and turn it into the world's best radar expert? And that's how I made Radar Bot. So it's Radar
What if
Bot.
AI is wrong again? No.
Yeah. So basically, that's what he has done. And he says, as I said before, it's not been easy. He said, I get a horrible message, constant abuse. They shot my animals and no one takes it seriously. He says, it does affect me. I don't have my staff here. I can't have my kids here. There's guns being shot on my property. And he says, I don't have investor days anymore because you never know who's coming or whether they're going to vandalize the place. I don't know why you would bother, why would you, and who's doing
ego?
this?
Maybe because then he could say, well, I'm the one who created this radar to find UFO. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I'm not passing judgment on him. If that's what he wants to do. I mean, he's a millionaire. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Some people have that car they refurbish over the summer. This is my version of that summer car. So
he's got an interesting history, though, Jim. Did you read further about he was born in Zimbabwe? And why does he have this interest in UFOs?
Star Trek.
No.
Star Wars?
No. When the
Oh, yeah.
famous UFO incident in Zimbabwe.
Oh, yeah. Which is a great case, by the way. Everybody
Yes.
should look that up.
Oh,
I
my
believe that's the
gosh,
one
it
with
is-
Dr. John Mack and with the school children. That's
The
one
school
we're talking-
children.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And I'm blanking on the name of it. Do you have the name of it there in front of you?
No.
I know that, and we've done shows on this. So basically, these kids were playing in Zimbabwe, and this is before the internet. I think it was very early 90s or late 80s, and the name's on the tip of my tongue. I'm gonna really be angry with myself when I.
It was
can't remember
the
that.
Ariel School in Ruwa, Zimbabwe.
The Ariel incident
in 1994. 60 children.
Okay, so basically, these children reported that basically aliens landed in and visited them. And what was interesting, they got the children apart to interview them about this and the Ariel School incident, and they drew the same exact pictures. And they were separated, so they weren't talking to each other. Let's draw this that looks like this. And the thing was, it was very early in the internet. Plus, I don't even know if they had internet there. So they weren't poisoned by the internet in terms of that. They probably didn't have the access to popular entertainment that we did. But yet all these children reported, and they continue to talk about it during their adult years. It's one of the coolest
very cool
incidents.
story.
Anyway, I missed that when I read the story.
Well, he says in the article, he recalls, quote, "I was in primary school at a school named Great Stone Park, and we had just had a hockey game with the students from the Ariel School where the UFO thing happened." And he said, quote, "Apparently the school had just seen a UFO land, and it was the talk of all the schools everywhere. So in my youth, we were all drawing pictures of UFOs and aliens and things, and I think maybe that dropped a seed, and that's where it started." So that's why he has a fascination with this. So,
but boy, there has to be a real fascination to live away from your wife and kids.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's sad in a way.
Now there was some concern here that since people can download this software and control this, that they might be able to use it for nefarious purposes. But he said he was looking at it positively. And he thinks what he's doing is a good thing. So we'll see what happens. It is
he says
kind of odd.
He's not looking for them himself, the UFOs. He's just wanting to create the tool.
Right.
This is his quote. He said, "A person who makes a shovel isn't going to go digging for gold. I've made the tool, and it's my job to make it the best tool I can. And when they find aliens, I hope they'll tell me."
Yeah.
There you go.
I don't know. That could be a scary situation. That could be a scary situation.
If it gets in the wrong hands. You know what else is scary?
Yes,
in my opinion?
Perfect
Ouija
segue.
boards. What do you think, Jim? Are you afraid of Ouija boards? Are you okay with them?
I think I'm less afraid than you are, but I am somewhat afraid. I mean, part of me is tempted to get one out and do a live stream.
We have it
and
in the
see what
basement.
happens.
Go get it.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not touching that thing.
Well, that's the thing is like I kind of want to, but we're going to have Karen Dahlman, who is one of the world's best experts on Ouija, back on the Paranormal Podcast. Going to be interviewing her in the next month or so, just in time for spooky season. But I'm still a little freaked out by it. But
I don't know. So here we go. We have a science article. So it's from psychologytoday.com. Are you afraid of the Ouija board? The spirits may not hold any power over people, but the belief does. So it's a study that was done recently. Here we go with the studies and even the way the article is written, whatever. But so they did a study. They wanted to know if it was possible, like basically, is it just the belief of Ouija boards, or is it actually the Ouija board that, spooks people out and causes psychological harm? Because it's always portrayed in movies as evil and causing harm. So they wanted to say, I love how they just started. There's no science-based reason to think spirits exist, nor that they can contact the living through something like a Ouija board. There's no science saying it isn't, and it can't happen either. So there you go. That's why it's called belief, right? Anyway. So and their study, I like how they call it a quasi-experimental investigation. Mm-hmm. 84 volunteers. They recruited it from a prior study pool, and from some Facebook groups. Yeah, that's scientific. But anyway, and they made them take these pre-tests, and they put them into two groups. If you were a paranormal believer, or if you were a non-paranormal believer. I already have a problem with that too. Because, well, just like what we just talked about, right? If you're skeptical and you're like, or even if you're not, if you're a believer, pretty much you're dogmatic in your beliefs and opinions. So already the whole thing is biased, and to me throws the whole scientific experiment out the window. Because how are you going to account for bias? So those of you who know science and have done experiment, anyway. So they did some sessions. They put them in this like spooky place as well. They made them, they met at night in front of an abandoned hotel that had previously been used as a hospital during the Spanish Civil War. So it had the atmosphere, conducive to attempts at contacting the other side. Mm-hmm. And they did the questionnaire, and they did use some inventories, like the Beck anxiety inventory. Their goal was saying if it increased anxiety, did it do it in both groups? Did the Ouija board cause this, right? So basically, there's a whole bunch of inventories and things they used. And they did a pre-test and a post-test to find out, about the changes of anxiety, right? Well, and they found basically there were changes in subjects after they used the board, but also it was mainly the people that believed in the paranormal.
Right.
And they reported higher levels of anxiety and altered states of consciousness and perception of anomalous phenomena. And the non-believers had no change, of course. I mean, isn't that kind of... So they're also saying it's a feedback loop. So saying that, the believing in the participants' minds kind of reported higher levels of anxiety. But I can argue conversely, isn't it a feedback loop then for the non-believers that they're just going to say?
And can it be a little bit of both? Let's face it. Right. Okay, let's say that somebody uses the Ouija board and they believe. Might they be a little more anxious? Might they be a little more hyped up? Might they be a little more on edge? Of course, just by fact that they believe. But does that mean that there isn't something to it? No, you're measuring two different things.
Quote, the results of the study suggest, not surprisingly, that simply using a Ouija board is perfectly safe. It is, after all, just some wood, cardboard, or plastic. However, belief in the board's powers and in supernatural entities is very real for some people. It is that belief itself and not any external force or power which creates changes in a believer's psychological state and can even affect their mental well-being.
And it's a big leap. It's a big leap.
Right?
Yeah, it's fair to say, I think it's fair to say just on the face of it, that is very likely that the act of belief changes the way you interact and react to something. That makes sense.
Yes,
but to take the leap that is the only factor involved, that's the leap. But they don't see that.
It's always all or none. They don't ever have anything in the middle. Why can't they just say, well, maybe it can occur. It just didn't occur while we were doing this study. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe get these non-believers and let them keep doing it. And who knows what might come to them.
We've had a lot of instances where people have come on the campfire, for example, and say, I really didn't believe in this stuff until this happened. Just had one yesterday. We recorded it. It's not on the air. But it was a person's relative. I believe it was their relative who had one supernatural experience, and this person's very much, professional at a very high level. I have nothing to this stuff. And then they ended up going together to some ostensibly haunted place, and the person had the second experience, and they're like, yep, now I believe.
See?
Now I believe. So, I think you've got people who legitimately, if they don't experience something themselves, and sometimes not even then, they're never going to give it any credence. But what I don't get is that, if somebody's, quote, scientific, they talk about all the bias amongst believers, which there is bias. But they never mention their own bias.
That's right.
They never acknowledge.
Those
Well, we were
outcomes.
looking at it the proper way. We're looking at it the proper way.
They end with those outcomes, however, would still not reveal a supernatural reality, just a psychological one.
There you go.
Okay, whatever. See, this is what I'm sorry. Just everybody, you see why you have to keep an open mind when you are reading or listening to anything, because their biases are in everything. Because people just cannot help themselves with just putting fact, and they have to add opinions or whatever. So,
well, speaking of opinions, I wanted to mention something as an aside. Over at our virtual campfire, somebody had the opinion, boy, they really enjoy Dar's sass, that she brings the sass every week.
Sassy.
Sassy.
What was that? Phil Hartman's
Sassy.
on SNL.
Sassy.
Sassy.
So if you want more sass and a lot of great comments and talk about haunted places and stories, and you see on the screen there, if you're watching Maddie, she brings in articles and polls, as do you, in terms of bringing in polls and stuff. And I chime in, of course, and update the shows. Join our virtual campfire group, virtualcampfiregroup.com, virtualcampfiregroup.com. We hope that you will check it out. I think we're up to about 2,800 members. I'd like to see a lot more people over there. And this is truly one of these things where there's no catch. We're not charging for this. This is free. This is just a place where we can go. And it kind of takes the place of our old Facebook group because, as we said many times, we had 27,000 members over there and nobody saw anything. So we're getting more interaction over here with like 10% of the people than we were in the big group. We'd much like to get this group much larger. We're even talking about doing a spooky football league for fantasy football. I've got to research that and see if we can do it.
I keep calling it the Paranormal Pigskin, but we'll see.
the Paranormal Pigskin League. Yeah. I like that. That's pretty good.
I'd like people, I know a lot of people have joined. You said there's 2,800. Where are y'all? Come on. Yeah. Start posting. Don't be afraid.
Yes.
Start react. Even if you're afraid to post something, react to things. React to what other people have posted. Comment. Yes. Or if you're too even afraid to do that, just it's so cool. It's got all the emojis. You could give as many emojis as you'd like on the reaction. You don't have to give just one emoji to react to something. Just react. Hit the poll buttons. Participate in Maddie's Would You Rathers that she puts out every day. And there's an
app. There's an app too. A Mighty Networks app that you can use.
You could just do it from your phone. Yes. So come on, guys, don't be quiet. I know. And thank you to those that do contribute. And there's a number that like just contribute every day. And they're always, saying something or giving, even just giving positive, vibes to people who are scared about something, or they had an experience when they share their story, and they'll be like, oh yeah, I had that too. Or, somebody who didn't get their, loved one a sign from them and saying, don't give up, try this, or, so come on over. Nobody's biting. We make sure nobody's biting because we are moderating it, and anybody who's being nasty to anyone is out because we're not allowing that.
Yeah, we've had to do that a little bit. Not much though. Very little. But we will do it if needed.
Right. So it's a safe community for you all to talk about what you believe in. And that's kind of different than what's out in the real world because we talk about it all the time. You're a weirdo, you're crazy if you talk about these things. So
that's right. Right at home. Maybe someplace else you might be right at home. We've been talking about what we're going to do for our big anniversary coming up next year. And I think I have the solution.
I know. No. Not doing this. Go
because
ahead.
You can now stay at the house from the 1982 movie Poltergeist, I think. And then we can even take a dip in the pool.
No, actually, after what I read about the pool, I definitely would not go in the pool.
Of course, that's the famous
I'm not going there.
Spielberg movie. And, there's a lot of lore around this movie. You had, unfortunately, the young girl, Heather O'Rourke, who died at a very young age. And there's been speculation if the movie was cursed. Last year, the original house in the movie in Simi Valley, California, that was used during the exterior shots, went up for sale for $1.174 million. Well, the house has been purchased, It's been restored to its former glory. It looks like it did in the movie. Kind of sounds like what they did to the Christmas Story house here in Cleveland.
Yes.
And now you can stay overnight there.
Oh, great.
There you go. I don't know what the pricing is. I'm sure that it's not
over
cheap.
$800 something a night. I had read somewhere.
Well worth it. Well worth it. And to
No.
get to swim in the same pool that Jo Beth Williams slept in. And there's a little factoid in this unexplained-mysteries.com story. They say, did you know that in the movie, some of the skeletons that Jo Beth Williams encounters when she falls into the pool were actual real bodies and not props?
Oh, God. No. But I heard, too, I read on another website, and I'll probably put that article in there, too. I think it was from Gizmodo. They said you can even have the night curated to be like the movie, so they'll have the TV do the fuzz.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, they'll like try to...
Here.
Yeah, kind of. They said they will do a lot of that kind of experiences for you, if you would like. Yeah. That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not,
I've got what, almost, not quite a year, several months to convince you. So I'm going to keep working.
No, what if do they have the clown in the room? That all bets are off if they've got that clown in the bedroom.
It could be, it'd be great because it could be a anniversary trip and a work trip all in one. We could do a live stream.
How about you could do that and have your people come and spend the night in the house with you, and I will go to somewhere else. I'd say a spa, but I don't even like spas.
Everybody
I'll just go
on the virtual
else.
campfire, let Dar know that you want us to go spend
I'm
the
not
night.
going. I'm not going. Do not do that, Jim, because I'm not going. I'll stand outside of it and wave to you. I'm not going in there, especially if they have that stupid clown in the bedroom. That thing was terrifying. And that's when I would watch some kind of spooky movies sometimes. Now I don't even do that. I do. I'll tell you why. I really do have that kind of, I don't know, I have that kind of belief of evil kind of can permeate into you. I just do. Yeah. And I think some people are very open to that. I don't think I'm open to having evil, but I don't want to give it any opportunity.
Yeah, don't worry about that too much. I just watched.
I know you don't.
Finally got to see Heretic. Cassandra and I, before she went off to school, watched it, and my review is the first half great, the second half not so great. But Hugh Grant, oh, how sinister! Oh my goodness.
Yeah, no thanks.
I'm a creep,
I think I was
weirdo.
Watching documentaries or something about cruising or playing my games. Whatever.
It was a good, but I would still say worth a watch just to see Hugh Grant chew the scenery a little bit. He was really good. He's really good.
There you go.
So, we talked about the royal family before and their interest in things like UFOs and the supernatural. And you found a story that kind of backs that up even more.
Yeah, apparently, according to people.com, the Queen Mother and Queen Elizabeth had an exorcism at Sandringham.
Wow.
Now, that's the headline. If you read this story, it really wasn't an exorcism per se. But in Sandringham House in the year 2000, they had a ceremony, and they had it because the staff were complaining about strange and unexplained paranormal activity in the bedroom where King George VI died. And they don't know, they're saying they don't know if it was because the Queen Mother and Queen Elizabeth believed in it or just to kind of appease the staff. But they were in the bedroom. It was Queen Elizabeth and her lady in waiting. And they had a religious ceremony there. They took communion, and they had just like a ceremony, said special prayers and trying to rid the space of the restlessness that was happening. Some people were saying it wasn't necessarily the ghost of George VI, but maybe Princess Diana.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Because she died in 97.
I mean, I totally could see those places being haunted, those various castles. There's so much.
Yes.
Even like when we went to the Tower of London, I just had an eerie feeling. Didn't you have an eerie feeling?
Yeah. I told you my eerie feeling was at York Minster. I needed out of that place. My spidey sense went up.
I just had somebody call in with it yesterday, a story about a haunted hotel in York. So,
I don't know.
yeah.
My spidey sense and Tower of London, I was a little uneasy, especially in certain areas. I felt a little.
That top part where people had carved in there. That was.
I didn't like that. I got out of there pretty quick. Yeah. Also, it felt kind of claustrophobic a little bit, like in the stairwells and whatnot, and it just kind of overall freaked me out a bit. But yeah,
I've heard there have been people who've lost their head over it. So,
bump. You forgot your bump. There you go. Thank you. Late on the bump.
So I know you were probably one of the bigger 80s music fans I know, and no group was larger in the 80s than the great Van Halen.
Woohoo!
And there's always talk about the kind of rivalry between David Lee Roth and Sammy Hagar. And,
oh my
all
gosh,
that stuff, and there's a lot of drama.
Is still continuing.
Apparently,
it is.
But now it's taken a supernatural turn, hasn't it?
It has. It is kind of bizarre what has happened here. They changed my story.
Oh, I think it's supernatural.
And it may be.
It's supernatural, folks.
Well, I had a great story from Yahoo, and it was Guitar News, and I liked that story better, but I have another one pulled up from Parade. But supposedly, Sammy Hagar has said that the ghost of Eddie Van Halen visited him and helped him in a dream and helped him create the riff for one of their songs. And it was very, very fantastic, whatnot.
Sammy Hagar had a new song that.
Yeah,
Eddie
it was
Van
a newer
Halen...
song. I think it was back in 2022.
Okay, so
he shared that Van Halen appeared to him in a dream and gifted him a guitar riff. And so he got up in the morning and he wrote the song, and it became part of the track Encore, Thank You, Good Night. That was released 3 years later or whatever.
Eddie Van Halen died in 2020, so.
Right.
Makes sense.
Well, David Lee Roth during a concert this week apparently I don't think he believes this, and he was kind of being pretty nasty about it, and he couldn't resist pulling his own spin on the story here. And he actually right in the middle of a song and a concert, like stopped the concert to tell this story.
Oh God.
Yeah. Could you know him? Well, you know David Lee Roth.
Diamond Dave.
Flamboyant.
Diamond Dave.
I liked him. I like him, I guess.
I mean, I respect Sammy Hagar, and he's a great vocalist, and they have some good tunes, but the iconic version of Van Halen is, in my opinion, with David Lee Roth.
Me too. I hate to say I do prefer their earlier stuff with David Lee Roth more than Sammy, but not that I no diss to Sammy. He's good too, but
I can't drive 55 either, so.
Yeah, me neither. So anyway, he says, so David Lee Roth says the ghost of Eddie Van Halen visited him in his hotel room. And he was watching the weather report. And David Lee came in and he was laughing. And he said, the effing ghost was laughing. According to Roth, Van Halen told him that the riff Hagar believed was a divine gift was actually just iron butterflies in a Davida. And a Davida, you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, played backwards. And so then the audience was laughing hysterically. And then Roth did say that Van Halen's ghost and himself shared a cigarette. And he confessed, man, I do blanking miss you, Van Halen. He replied, I miss you too, Dave, but you know what? You could still go to blank. And David Lee Roth said, save me a seat.
Oh, there you go. Well, so, I know that sounds like it's very facetious, but I know what David Lee Roth would do if he saw the real ghost of Eddie Van Halen.
Oh, here we go. Everybody ready? Yeah, I know. I know. What
he would jump. Do. Of course, he would jump.
Groan. Oh man.
I've reached a new low with the dad jokes.
No, you have not.
There's still lower to go. We can always go lower.
You have plenty of room. Oh,
plenty of room. On the other side, Dar has been doing a lot of great stuff in our merch area. jimharold.com/merch. Let's see if I can get this to work. Check this out. She actually
We have playing cards.
We have playing cards. Isn't that
and
something?
There's another design.
Yes.
There's the original design of
With
like the shirt that I'm wearing.
Yeah, with the classic Stay Spooky logo. Yep.
Why that's not showing up right now, but so we have this design on cards too.
Yeah.
So we did some playing cards. I know somebody in the virtual campfire mentioned they would like that. It really is cool if you are going camping or you're by a campfire and you want to play something. Cool.
There you go,
so there's that.
Yeah, and
created a little lamp.
There's a little lamp. We did a little lamp there. Of course, if you just want this time of the year, I think is very appropriate coming up. If you just want a non-Jim Harold branded Stay Spooky shirt,
for
there
fall,
you go.
Yeah.
We have the trademark.
I'll have some more
that,
coming out, and I have a craft, like I said last week, that I'm working on. Just things have been absolutely crazy, so I haven't completed all of it yet, but that's going to be up there. Stickers and decals are coming.
Yeah.
It's it takes time, everybody.
Yeah. And I wanted to let everybody know, we're going to keep the old logo in there, like you see here with the two people with the Stay Spooky campfire, like the one that Dar's wearing today. We're not going to get rid of that, even though for the podcast artwork, we wanted to do something that was a little more eye-catching because honestly, new people, if they're scrolling through, we wanted something that would really jump up and grab their attention. So that's the reason we did the new artwork. But I really do like that classic design that Dar has on. So none of that's going away. That's all going to still be in the store and available. So you can get the new logo on a lot of stuff and you'll be able to continue to get this classic logo on a lot.
Also, in the virtual campfire, we have a merch section, which I thank people who've been sharing pictures of them
show
wearing
off your
it
merch,
or using it. Yeah, if you guys have some ideas of things that you want, somebody said playing cards, so I tried to find them.
Yeah.
I know somebody else wants an embroidered patch. I'm working on it. It's like I always say, I just want to make sure the quality's good, that you're not getting over gouged. Some of the prices are... And then somebody said, well, they don't care that the prices are high. So maybe we'll put some things up there, but just so there's a variety of things.
Yeah,
but if there's something specific, let me know.
Yeah. I mean, if our supplier charges us $25 for something, we can't charge $20 for it. We've got to, make a little bit of money on it. So usually you'll see that the prices are directly reflected by what it costs us to do it. That's basically, and we've looked at other podcasters, no names please, but we've looked at other podcasters and I think that our merch is very reasonably priced and I think that we take
definitely
quite a bit
competitive.
less.
Yep.
Yeah. In most cases, I think that we're very competitive and cheaper in most cases.
And if prices have gone up a bit, it's just...
And I don't know their situations. I don't know who their suppliers are. So maybe it's because it costs them more or whatever. But the point is that we're very much in line, if not cheaper than most. Right.
And, and if prices are adjusted here and there, it's because they've been adjusted on our end. And it's been happening. Like you guys know, you just go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Go get gas, go get anything. Prices
People are saying.
No.
So, well, thank you for joining us on another Paranormal Report. We'll be back next week with another edition of All News Stories. And
one more thing. I'm sorry, Jim. Really, 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 really quick. I want to give a shout out to our very good, dear family friend, Barbara. It's her birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday. We love you. And we love you all for listening.
Stay spooky.
Stay spooky. Bye.